Miss Marlene Holt has finally reached her limit. After years of watching her son Martell Holt spiral from one bad decision to another, she has spoken up in a way that has stunned fans, the cast, and even Martell himself. This isn't about gossip or another round of online drama, this is a mother's truth, spoken with the kind of weariness that only comes after holding everything in for far too long. For years, Marlene has defended Martell no matter what he did. Whether it was his public affair, his messy divorce, or his repeated court appearances, she always found a way to give him the benefit of the doubt. She wanted to believe that her son was misunderstood, that he was just reacting to pressure, that deep down he was still the same man who once had everything going for him. But now, something has shifted. For the first time, Marlene has admitted she is tired. Tired of covering for him. Tired of pretending everything is fine. Tired of watching him ruin his life one decision at a time. And this time, it all comes down to his behavior in court and his refusal to take accountability for his actions. It's no secret that Martell has been fighting a long, exhausting legal battle with his ex-wife, Melody Sherry. From custody issues to court orders, from therapy recommendations to social media rants, he's been in and out of the system for years. But even with everything on the line, his reputation, his rights as a father, and his chance to prove he's changed, Martell still managed to disappoint the very people who have stood by him the longest. Miss Marlene was one of those people. She watched him skip out on required therapy. She watched him ignore court orders. And most recently, she watched him fail to even show up to court, a move that shocked everyone. For a man who claims to fight for his kids, not showing up was a slap in the face, not just to the judge, not just to Melody, but to every person who ever tried to believe in him. And for Marlene, that was the breaking point. Now, this isn't just about one missed court date. It's about a pattern, a long, painful pattern of Martell running from his own consequences. Over and over again, he's tried to control the narrative. He's gone on social media, he's made posts, he's talked about how unfair the system is. But behind all that talk, there's a truth he can't escape, and that's the truth his mother finally decided to say out loud. Marlene told her son that enough is enough. She told him that she can't keep protecting him, not when he refuses to protect himself. She told him that he's losing everything that matters, not because people are against him, but because he keeps making choices that destroy the good things in his life. And when a mother says that to her child, it hits differently. It's not about fame, it's not about television, and it's not about fans, it's about truth. When Miss Marlene spoke, she didn't raise her voice. She didn't drag him. She didn't humiliate him like some people in Huntsville might. Instead, she spoke with calm disappointment. You could hear it in her tone, that heavy sigh that comes from years of hoping your child will do better and realizing they just might not. She told him that Melody was the glue that held everything together. She reminded him that when he was out chasing distractions, it was Melody who kept the home stable, the children cared for, and the family name intact. And then, in the same breath, she said the words that changed everything. She said that Aryan brought nothing but chaos. That comparison hit Martell hard. Because deep down, even he knows it's true. Think about it. Martell had a wife who built him up, who shared his dreams, and who stood beside him while he was building their empire. Melody wasn't perfect, but she was steady. She was strong. She had vision. And then, Martell threw it all away for something that gave him attention but not peace. He turned his marriage into a headline, his family into a storyline, and his reputation into a joke. And through all of it, his mother stayed silent until now. Marlene has made it clear that she can no longer defend a man who refuses to take responsibility. She has finally drawn a line between being supportive and being an enabler. And that line has been crossed too many times. One of the moments that shook fans was when Marlene admitted that she can't even look at her grandson, Maverick, without remembering the pain behind his existence. Now, she loves the child deeply, there's no question about that. But every time she sees him, she's reminded of the choices her son made, the family he broke, and the heartbreak that never healed. That's not bitterness, that's grief. It's the grief of a mother watching her family crumble because her son couldn't control his pride. It's the kind of sadness that doesn't show up in arguments or TV confessionals, it shows up in quiet moments when she's alone, thinking about everything that's been lost. Fans have noticed how Marlene's tone has changed over the years. Early on, she used to defend Martell no matter what. She would tell people that he was a good man who just made mistakes, that people didn't understand him. But recently, her patience has faded. She has seen too much. She has watched him argue with Melody, disrespect women, clash with friends, and act like the world owes him something. And now, after this latest court incident, where he didn't even bother to show up, she's had enough. She told him straight, "I can't keep standing by you if you won't stand up for yourself." Let's not forget that this isn't the first time Martell's mother has tried to guide him. She's warned him before. She's told him to be careful with his choices, to stop arguing online, to stop letting anger make his decisions for him. But every time she tried, he brushed it off. He thought he knew better. He thought he could outtalk everyone, outsmart the system, and outshine his mistakes. But now, all that confidence is crumbling. His businesses have suffered. His public image is in ruins. His relationships are strained. And even the one person who always gave him unconditional love, his mother, is saying she can't do it anymore. That's when you know the situation is serious. Now, when Marlene mentioned Aryan Curry, she didn't do it to be cruel. She did it because she's seen what that relationship really looks like behind the scenes. She's seen the arguments, the instability, the control. She's seen how Aryan, despite being educated and capable, has allowed herself to depend on a man who hasn't even found his own direction. She's seen her son use manipulation to keep someone close instead of building a healthy partnership. And she's seen how all of that chaos has kept him from growing. So when she said that Aryan brings nothing but confusion and idleness, she wasn't attacking her, she was describing a truth that too many people have ignored. What made fans really pay attention was the way Marlene compared Melody and Aryan. She didn't have to use big words. She didn't have to drag anyone. She simply said that Melody brought structure and Aryan brought stress. Melody brought progress while Aryan brought problems. That's not gossip, that's a mother speaking from experience. She watched both women interact with her son. She saw who made him better and who made him worse. And for her to admit publicly that she respects Melody more, even after the divorce, shows just how far Martell has fallen in her eyes. This is also the first time we've seen Marlene hint at her own exhaustion. She said she's been carrying the weight of her son's choices for too long. She's tired of being blamed when things go wrong. She's tired of being dragged into social media drama every time Martell does something reckless. And she's tired of pretending that everything is fine when everyone knows it isn't. That's why this moment feels so important. Because for the first time, Marlene is setting herself free from her son's mistakes. She's choosing peace over loyalty. And that takes strength, especially for a mother who has always been protective. Now, let's talk about how this affects Martell himself. Because make no mistake, when your own mother stops defending you, it hits hard. Martell has built his entire public image around being misunderstood, around being the man who just wants to see his kids, around being the victim of other people's lies. But that image doesn't work anymore, not when his mother is saying the same things his critics have been saying for years. When Miss Wanda, the Scotts, and now Miss Marlene are all saying the same thing, that Martell refuses to grow up, refuses to take responsibility, and refuses to face his truth, it's time to stop blaming everyone else. Marlene's disappointment also exposes something deeper about Martell's pattern. He has always sought control over his image, his relationships, and his narrative. Whether it's telling Aryan when she can work, how much she can make, or whether she's allowed to take a night shift, it's all about control. That infamous moment where Aryan asked him, "Can I work full-time? Can I work nights?" and he said no, that showed everything. A grown man, trying to stop a grown woman from using her education and skills because of his own insecurity. And when he said, "Nurses are cheaters," it didn't just sound ridiculous, it sounded insecure. That statement showed how deeply rooted his trust issues are, how much he projects his own behavior onto others. The man who cheated for 10 years calls nurses cheaters, the irony is painful. And through all that, Marlene sat there, listening. Watching her son speak with arrogance, dismissing the mother of his child, demeaning a hard-working profession, and embarrassing himself in the process. The look on her face said it all, she was done. Not angry, not defensive, just done. That's the look of a mother who realizes that no amount of advice, no amount of protection, can save someone who refuses to save themselves. And that's why her silence over the years has now turned into something stronger: truth. When fans look back at all the times Marlene tried to stand by Martell, it becomes clear that this shift didn't happen overnight. She's been wrestling with this reality for a long time. She tried to stay neutral after the divorce. She tried to be polite with Melody. She even tried to give Aryan a chance. But after watching her son ruin every good thing he's had, his marriage, his friendships, his opportunities, she realized that enabling him was only making things worse. And by speaking up now, she's forcing him to face what he's been running from. This moment also means something for Melody. Because no matter what, she has always respected Marlene as the grandmother of her children. Melody has stayed focused, working on her businesses, her brand, her music, and her peace. She hasn't needed to drag anyone, her success speaks for itself. And now that Marlene has acknowledged how strong she is, it's like a final validation. For years, people accused Melody of overreacting, of being cold, of moving on too fast. But now, even Martell's mother is confirming that Melody was the glue, the stability, the heart. That truth carries weight. And if you look at the bigger picture, this whole situation shows something important: that even on a show built around drama, real life always finds a way to cut through. Carlos King, the producer, doesn't have to script this. He doesn't have to create fake tension. Because what we're seeing now is raw truth. A mother calling out her son on national television isn't entertainment, it's reality in its purest form. It's a woman who has seen too much pain and decided to stop pretending. And that's why fans are reacting so strongly. Because it's not about who's right or wrong anymore, it's about a family that's finally facing the truth. Now, let's look at the ripple effect this will have across the cast. Marceau Scott and Maurice Scott have been warning Martell for years. They've told him to slow down, to think before he speaks, to stop fighting everyone around him. They've tried to talk sense into him, and each time, he dismissed them. But now, when his mother says the same thing, those past conversations look different. The Scott brothers weren't hating, they were predicting exactly what's happening now. Kimmy Scott, too, has always had quiet wisdom. She's watched Martell self-destruct and has dropped small truths in between her calm words. Back then, people might not have listened, but now, her observations sound prophetic. Even Miss Wanda, who's known for her loud and messy ways, has called out Martell's foolishness before. She might not always be gentle about it, but she's been honest. And when the entire circle around you, your mother, your ex-wife, your co-stars, and even your loudest critics all say the same thing, that's when you know the truth can't be avoided anymore. Martell can't hide behind the idea that everyone's out to get him. The reality is clear: he's been his own worst enemy all along. This is also a wake-up call for Aryan Curry. Because as much as she's been loyal to Martell, defending him online, clapping back at fans, and insisting that she's more than a side story, she now has to face the fact that even his mother doesn't respect the relationship. When a man's own mother calls what you had with him an event instead of a relationship, that says it all. It wasn't love. It wasn't partnership. It was a temporary escape that left destruction in its path. And no matter how much Aryan tries to justify it, she can't change how it looks now that Marlene has spoken. In the end, what makes this story powerful isn't just the drama, it's the emotion behind it. Miss Marlene isn't being petty. She isn't trying to humiliate her son. She's trying to save him, even if it's by letting him fall. Sometimes, love means stepping back and letting someone face the consequences they've been avoiding. Sometimes, silence becomes agreement, and she's no longer willing to agree with his chaos. She's saying, "I've done my part. Now it's time for you to do yours." And now the ball is in Martell's court. Will he finally listen? Will he go to counseling like the court ordered? Will he take responsibility for the pain he's caused? Or will he keep pretending to be the victim while everyone around him walks away? Because make no mistake, if he doesn't change now, there might not be anyone left to protect him. Not his mother, not his friends, not even his fans. Miss Marlene's words aren't just a mother's frustration, they're a reflection of everything the audience has been feeling for years. They're a reminder that no matter how many times you run from accountability, the truth always catches up. And now, Martell Holt is standing at that crossroads. The show can keep filming, the drama can keep unfolding, but deep down, the message is clear: the time for excuses is over. The time for change is now. So as the dust settles, one thing is certain: Miss Marlene has finally spoken her truth, and nothing will be the same after this. Her silence protected him once, but now her honesty might be the only thing that saves him. Whether Martell chooses to learn from it or ignore it will determine everything that happens next. Because in Huntsville, the drama never really ends, but this time, it feels different. This time, it feels real. This time, it's not about ratings or storylines. It's about a mother who's finally saying, "I love you, but I can't keep saving you." And those words might be the most powerful thing Martell Holt has ever had to face.